comfortably over the dashboard, you're good to go. All right, have you ever flown before on a flight sim on a computer? No flying whatsoever at all? Video game? PlayStation? No. Xbox? Okay, never mind, it's okay. There's the first time. Do you know the basics of flying, of how the aircraft flies, or what the controls that we use for flying?
I mean, I think so. I'm not sure.
No worries, that's what I'm here for. I'm just gonna move the bag out of here. Feel free to take pictures, videos, whatever, guys. All right, so the way we work, we're just gonna get the hydraulics on, all right? So we can manipulate the flight controls. All right, that sound you hear of a dog barking, that's just a hydraulic pump. It's called the PTU, the power transfer unit. So because we've got multiple hydraulic pumps, that's transferring power from the electrical pump of the yellow system over to the green system. So that means our flight controls, the wings and stuff are now working. So the basics of flying an aeroplane, and it's not just this aeroplane, it's the same physics to any aeroplane that you're gonna fly. It starts at your feet. That would be Steve. He looks familiar. You start with our feet. Now down there you got those two pedals. They're called the rudder pedals. And what they do is they move the rudder, which is the big tail section. Oh, thank you. They move the big tail section at the back of the aircraft. All right? So if you put your feet on there and just follow along with me, if you push left, you see you move that entire surface to the left.
Thank you.
If you release it, it's going to spring load back to the middle, and then you got right. Okay? So that will move the rudder, and that will cause the aircraft, that's your in-flight meal by the way, that will cause the aircraft to steer left and right along the ground. All right? What we call yaw. All right? So when you're on the ground and you need to steer the airplane, you use your feet. Whether you're in a Cessna or 777, you're going to use the same thing, right? You left for left, right for right. Now those pedals, they have a second function, which is on the top. If you squeeze them in like that, you see how I'm squeezing them in on the top? So if you rest your foot completely on it, with your heels, you steer. With your toes, you brake. Those are brakes, wheel brakes. So when you squeeze them in, you're applying brakes to the rear wheels, which will help you slow the aircraft down. Now you have to push them together because they're differential brakes. If you push only one, it will lock only that side and the aircraft would skid to that corner. Usually passengers scream when that happens. So you always want to push the brakes together on the top, and that will give you equal braking force, all right? So steer with your heels, brake with your toes. That's only on the ground. Once we get up in the air, you don't have to use the rudders anymore. You can relax your feet, you can put them here on the footrest, you can put them down, whatever you're comfortable with. Everything now happens on the side stick. So this replaces what we call the yoke, which is the big thing in the front, right? So back in '86, when Airbus was designing the Airbus A320, they took the fly-by-wire technology from the Mirage program, the fighter program from Dassault, and they turned it into from a yoke into a single stick, and they moved to the side, and they called it side stick. Not very creative with the naming, but you know it works. So this works exactly the same way like a yoke would. You pull back, you're gonna go up. You push forward, you're gonna go down.
Where's the trash?
And then you got left and right. All the way on the left. So we can just keep it somewhere here for now. So left and right, up and down. Now this left and right is what we call rolling left and right. So that's how the aircraft turns itself. So you roll the aircraft onto its side, the dynamic pressure goes underneath the aircraft and over the wings, and that's how the aircraft moves. Think of it like a mouse. Wherever you point it, the aircraft is gonna go. Now, have you seen Maverick, the new Top Gun movie? We don't do it like that, you know. You'll find out it's going to be super sensitive. Literally 2 fingers is going to be enough. That's what she said. But yeah, you know, so that's basically how you're going to fly the aircraft, all right? And the way we do it, literally rest your palm here and just apply pressure in the direction you want. Once we're up in the air, you're going to see it's very sensitive. It's very easy. That's basically how we fly the plane. On the ground, steer with your feet, brake with your toes. Use the side stick to go up and down, left and right. Okay? Remember, towards you is up, away from you is down, and then left and right. In the middle, you've got 2 engine controllers because this is a twin engine aircraft, alright? They move independently, but we always move them together to balance the power on both sides. Pushing forward, you're going to increase power, go faster, pull back, reduces power, and you're going to slow down. Now, this is a highly computerized aircraft, so instead of just moving them back and forth, we have what we call presets and detents. All right. So when you're going to take off, you're going to put it here to toga, which is take off and go around power. That gives you maximum power. And then once you're up in the air, you're going to bring it back to CL, which is cruise
You guys
power.
hear those clicks?
Yeah.
Those are the details.
Defense.
Yeah.
About
All
that.
right. And then once you're here, then you just dial the speed over here what you want, and then the aircraft is going to maintain that speed for you. You can always do it manually as well. Then when we land, whenever you land, have you ever noticed the engines getting louder, like the engines throttle up when you land, that's because we're putting the engines into reverse. So over here, you've got the reverse gate over here. So that's 0, right? That's neutral. Now you can't just move it into 0. Airbus put a block over there to stop idiots like me from putting reverse in the air. But we have the unlocks here. So when you're coming to land, at about 20 feet, the aircraft is going to say retard. It's not calling you a retard, it's saying retard the engines, all right? So you'll probably be here, and it'll say retard, you bring it to idle, and then once you touch down, you pull these up, and now the aircraft, the engines will go into reverse. So what it's going to do is, it's going to close the back of the engines and open up a nozzle on the sides. And all the thrust, the pushing force that was coming out the back is now channeled to the front. Works like an opposite force to kind of slow you down. All right, so that's how we use the reverses. Once we're done slowing down, literally push it back into 0 and we're good.
Can you lift those in flight to go into reverse?
Yeah, electronically, it disables it.
Okay.
Until there's compression on the landing gear.
Okay.
So that's even the speed brakes will not deploy automatically until there's compression. There's a compression switch on the main landing gear.
A lot of switches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of switches. I mean, as you can see, so that's
Similar.
kind of it works on the compression gauge.
Yeah.
So basically that's it. So that's basically how you fly. Now, whenever you're flying, during takeoff and landing, you see little extensions coming out of the wing from the front and the back. Those are called flaps. Flaps and slats. Slats in the front, flaps in the back. That's this lever over here. Those are what we call lifting bodies. What they do is they temporarily make the wing larger so the aircraft can fly at slower speeds. Now, when we're just getting going to accelerate to high speed, we need some help to get off the ground. And when you're going to land, you're going to slow down to the slowest speed that we could possibly fly without falling out of the sky. So that's what we use the flaps for. Now you've got controls from 0 all the way to full. We use 1 or 2 for takeoff. We can use 3 or 4 for landing. All right. So today we're going to be we'll use number 1. All right. So the way you work it is you can't just move it. You have to pull from underneath to unlock it, take it to where you want, and then release it. It locks there, and that's your indication right there. So that's the flap indication. All right. Now in front of you, you've got 2 screens. I've got the same screens on my side. So the one on the left is called the primary flight display. We call it primary because that's the one we look at 99% of the time. It tells you, that's what we call the attitude, all right? Not giving you sarcasm and stuff like that, but just, you know, the attitude of the aircraft. So that's the nose and the 2 wings of the aircraft. So that's going to tell you if you're pointing up, you're pointing down, left and right. So because right now it's daytime, so if you look out the window, you see the horizon where the sky touches the ground, and you'll get an idea whether you're rolling right or left. But if you're in a cloud or you're in nighttime, it's just black. The sky is black, the ground is black, the plane is black, you're black, everything's just black. You can't see nothing out the window. So that's what the pilot uses to get an idea what the aircraft is doing. Because up there you don't really feel too much acceleration and stuff unless you're in a fighter jet. So you think you're turning left when actually you're turning right. So you can get disoriented very quickly in the aircraft. So that's why we rely on this instrument to give us an idea. And if this fails, we have a standby here. It's called the ISIS, not the terrorist group in Syria. Integrated standby instrument, right? So on the right is your altitude measured in feet, and on your left is your speed, which we measure in knots, nautical miles per hour. If you want to convert, are you familiar with miles or kilometers?
Probably miles.
Your miles, multiply that by 1.6 and that's your speed in miles per hour, all right? So when it's nautical miles per hour. So that's the basics of it. On the right-hand side, that's your navigation display. When we program, this is our flight management computer. So when we program the entire flight plan in, it'll draw waypoints and tell you where you are, where the nearest airport is. You can even turn on the terrain radar and it'll start scanning for mountains and all that kind of stuff. So it's a multifunction display for us, and it's very useful for us, right? So that's the basics of it, all right? This lever here is for the wheels. Once we get off the ground, pull and up, wheels go in, pull and down, wheels come out. The 3 green lights mean down and locked, ready for landing. If you're coming to land, you don't see 3 green lights, don't land, you have a problem.
Oh, you guys from the same area.
So that's basically it. All right, so now
He lives in
you
Dubai.
get to choose where we fly.
This guy.
This is his
It's my son.
Australia?
It's 14 years old.
All right.
Not working yet.
about Brisbane.
Brisbane. All right. Let me just get the code.
It's definitely a demonstrable skill, and for me, it's the same investment. All right,
Wow.
100 grand for a college degree, or 100 grand for this license or certificate with a job on the end.
Sorry, my bad. All right, we're just gonna start the APU. We'll start. All right, and I haven't clocked the hour yet.
Man, you guys are lucky.
We'll start there. So we're in Brisbane right now, and I've told the computer to give us the actual time in Brisbane, which is what it is right now. It's 4 in the evening there, and live weather. So actually, it's a pretty nice day in Brisbane today.
Lucky you.
All right. So I just want to get the.
How long you been in UAE?
15 years.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah,
So
good.
Here's what we're gonna
Yourself?
do. We have to do a
8
little bit
years.
of homework. All right?
8 years?
So the
Wow.
first thing we want to do is we want to
Yeah.
extinguish any white lights in the cockpit. All right.
Good to meet you.
Yeah,
so
likewise.
the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn that.
Thanks
one
for the
off. That's
opportunities.
the
That's
supply for
huge.
oxygen.
I
We're gonna
got
push that button.
another document I'll show you guys too.
All right.
But
now we're going to keep going
he's-
up. All okay.
He's giving you
Awesome.
information and providing
Yeah,
stuff
we need the nav
online
logo
that I
lights
paid
on,
for
that
2
comes on.
years ago.
Oh, yeah?
And it's
All right,
available
let's
to
get the
everybody
beacon
free.
going, 'cause
And
we're
this
gonna
is a
start the engine soon.
certifiable
You
flight
got
training.
180
Yeah,
degrees
he was
to the back,
saying,
we'll
yeah.
sit down and prepare
So
the
he
shutdown.
certifies
So seatbelt
other
signs off.
pilots in the area,
Smoking
in the
on.
region.
These are the
So
emergency lights.
here
The lights on the
everything
floor,
works.
lights at the
It's
exit.
not
You're
just a
going to arm
toy,
them.
it's
So you're going to
actual
pull and
Yeah.
put them in
for
arm.
learning
It's amazing.
things, yeah.
Beautiful. Now coming up here, we do have a fog light over here, but we can skip that from now on. That is because of this. All right. Now, as you come up, we've got the auxiliary power unit, the APU, which is a little generator running in the back of the aircraft. So we've got internal power, so we can disconnect from external. You're gonna push that button there, and that clicking sound is what we call the bus system, the electrical system of the aircraft, switching over from external power to another power source, which is the engines. All right, if you bring up the electrical page, so this is the primary engine display, and this is the what we call the systems display. And you can bring up, this is what replaced the engineer sitting behind the first officer, not Steve, but the actual, the panel that used to be there. So now you can literally bring up any system you want, and it will show you everything you need to know about it. So you see, we were using external power, now we're on internal power, APU, so that's what we want. So I'm gonna tell the ground crew now to take it away.
But
All right.
seriously, despite
Now,
that,
this
the
fuel
human
pump here,
still
these are the
has enough
fuel
'cause
pumps.
you got a
You're going to
pilot
need them to
flying
start the
and a
engine. So
pilot
all
watching. That
those
one
white
not
buttons
flying,
need to be pushed.
they have to have
You
a
need
good
to
idea of the
extinguish the light.
systems
Go
and
for it.
stuff. Because in addition to what they have to have a good idea, because you can still crash a perfectly good airplane because you don't know the systems.
True.
Excellent. So the fuel pumps are on. Now we're going to start the engines. All right. So what we're going to do is these are the master engine switches over here. So you want to put that's the mode selector to ignition start. Flick it to the right. Now because of the Airbus 320, because the electrical hydraulic pump is connected to engine number 2, we're going to start engine number 2 first. So it'll pressurize our brakes for us. Okay. So you're going to go up and forward on engine number 2. And we're going to start the timer. So now we've got the N2, which are the inner compressor blades. They're being spun using bleed air from the APU. It's going to build up that pressure inside the engine, what we call suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Don't let your mom hear that. Don't say that.
She slapped me 3 times. What are you talking about? All right, now you see the fuel has been introduced. So now the fuel and the air is being mixed and ignited by the spark plugs. The EGT is the actual temperature. It's called exhaust gas temperature. That's the actual temperature of the gas coming out the back of the engine. So you want to roast it roti. Perfect. All right, and the N1, that's the big blade that you see in the front of the engine. That is also starting to spin now. So now the engine has gone into its cycle. All right, and once it's sustaining itself, this gray box will disappear. That gray box indicates the starter motor. Once that cuts out, that means we've got a successful engine start. And then it should say available over here, meaning the engine is now started, it's available. There we go, gray box has disappeared. All systems are in the green, and very soon you'll see it availed there. So we got a good engine start there, and that happened within a minute, so that's good for us. Now we're going to go ahead and start engine number 1. Same thing, up and forward. There we go. In the older days, so in a 737, you'd have to keep your hands here ready on the thing, and you're watching the EGT. If it spikes to over 700 degrees, you have to immediately cut it out because it will blow the engine up. But Airbus, it's French. They're lazy. They're like, oh, why should these monitor? This is a computer monitor. And basically, it has what's called a FADEC system. So the FADEC is basically, it's a whole bunch of computers looking for any problems, and if it detects that anything is going outside of normal parameters, it will actually abort the engine start automatically, try to relight it 3 times, and then it's going to shut down and say, okay, fine, call a hotel, you're not going anywhere, so, and it gives you an actual checklist of things to do. So that's how the That's how the Airbus works, and it's a very easy aeroplane to fly and a very nice aircraft to fly every day. The only thing is it's grueling to learn all these systems because sometimes they have a Christmas tree light effect. One system will fail another system and all that kind of stuff. So we got both engines available.
Qantas Flight
now.
32.
So now you gotta go to this
Yeah.
to normal.
Everything you just said, Qantas Flight 32.
Yeah.
All right, we got a Gen 1 for some reason.
4 November 2010.
There we go. That fixed that problem. All right.
Engine
Now we've started both
exploded,
engines.
problems.
You don't need the
Nah.
APU anymore. You can turn the APU bleed off, and then you're gonna turn off the APU master. There we go. Now it's gonna take 2 minutes for it to cool down, and then that light's gonna go out. So now we're running off the main engines. Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're going to basically get the aircraft ready for takeoff, which is to configure it for takeoff. We're gonna do a flaps 1 takeoff. So go ahead and give us flaps number 1, sir. Yep. I'm gonna turn on the transponder so they can see us, so we don't become Malaysian Airlines. And we're gonna hit that button there. Speed's not inserted, no problem. I will add that later. All right. So now what I'm gonna do. So basically, you want to turn on all the lights now. All right. So the flaps are in position. So the strobes can come on now. That's the flashing white lights that we turn on just before takeoff. And these are all the forward-facing lights in the front. All right. You want them all on. Go for it. All 4 switches. All 4 switches at the bottom go fully up. Yep, those 2 as well. All the way up. All the way up. Perfect. That's good. So now, you know why we use lights even in daytime? Good question. Good answer. Birds. You see, when a bird flies and sees something in the sky, it's like, ah, mama, and then it comes basically flying towards the airplane and becomes KFC. But if a bird sees flashing lights, it's like, oh, my mama doesn't have flashing lights, and it flies away. So it kind of helps us deter birds as well, and also gives us visibility with other airplanes. Okay, so she is yours to fly. Feet on the pedals, hands on the controls. We're gonna take this thing airborne. All right. So you remember which one was your altitude and which one was your speed?
Which one was altitude and speed? This was altitude, no speed.
Correct.
Yeah, speed is on.
All right. So your speed for takeoff today is 140 knots. Okay. So when you see 140 touching the yellow line, that's when you've got enough speed to pull back on the stick and take us up in the air. All right. So that's basically it. You can release the parking brake, lift, and twist to the left. All right. Now put one hand here, the other hand on that one.
Left hand needs to be up.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Just bring the power in slowly. That's it. We'll stop it there. Let both engines spool. Now push right with the rudders. Rudders with your feet.
Rudders,
Remember.
right. Yeah.
Keep the stick straight. All right. Keep it neutral. You remember, steer on the ground with your feet, in the air with your hands.
You need to keep your
All right.
hands on the.
Yeah. Keep it there. Right hand here.
I'm not gonna go.
All right, punch it full power, all the way, all the way. Left on the rudders, like this. I'll help you out a bit. Don't worry. So we got maximum power now. Now you're just gonna tap them to point this towards the middle. A little more to the left with your feet. There you go. The winds are gonna be pushing you from all sides, so you're gonna have to counter that. Very nice. There's 140. Gently pull back on the side stick. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. See the change happening. There we go. You are officially airborne, my friend. Let's put the landing gear in. That lever there, out and up. Yep, out and up. Pull it out and then up. Beautiful. All right, now you don't want to keep pulling, all right? So you want to now bring the nose down a bit.
See the V?
V,
there?
yeah, the
It's
red
like
V.
pointing down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice. Beautiful. So we've got our speeds in. We're over Brisbane right now. So I'm going to turn on the terrain radar for you so you can see any of these mountains and hills. Now we're crossing that green S on our
Are
screen,
you guys
which
from
means
this area?
we don't need the
Yeah,
flaps anymore.
Does this
Flap
look
zero.
familiar?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. The Brisbane River.
Flaps up.
Okay.
Flap zero. Yep. That's it. And now we don't need so much power anymore. You can bring that back to CL. 2 clicks. One more click. That's it. And now I've dialed in 250, so that's what the aircraft's going to keep for us. So now there's downtown Brisbane right there. So fly wherever you like. Turn left, turn right, climb, descend. Get the feel of the plane. Just have fun. Fly the aircraft.
Kango.
Instrumentation, you're familiar with that?
Yeah.
That's right, you said you got a private license. That's right.
So you want to bring the nose down a bit.
That's one of the first things I do.
try to, so this is the nose of the aircraft, right? Try to keep it in this region here, between the brown line and the number 10.
Yeah.
Alright, so if the aircraft's going down, you pull back
Back,
to
yeah.
bring it up. So you're just gonna keep on, just because the winds are gonna push you from all sides. So you're gonna have to constantly keep working the aircraft. So now bring it below the number 10. And you can stop there. That's it. So now you just want to constantly keep changing things, right? So I'm actually just gonna program it into the airport. So fly around, feel free to climb, just roll the plane upside down.
4-digit actually.
There's autopilot on this?
Yes.
There is, of course, yeah, right there. So the autopilot, as everyone, like including my wife, thinks we just push a button and then we go to sleep, which is not true. The autopilot is this panel over here.
Lower your nose.
It's nothing more than a very, very, very advanced cruise control system. So basically, in a cruise control in a car, you dial the speed and it'll keep it for you, right? Same thing for the autopilot. You just dial the altitude, you dial the direction, you dial the speed, it does it for you. Alrighty, so we're gonna go to 050, fly flat, and I just want to check the weather today over Brisbane, get the meat hard. Okay.
Yeah, this is a lot easier than maintenance and engineering.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm trying to grab people and show them and push them to that direction.
True.
Small
Yeah,
stuff
called
is
slide
okay,
director.
it's an accomplishment,
Alright.
but
Now that's
you
gonna give
need
you a
to
little
touch the
cross.
heavy metal.
Yeah.
Your job
big lady.
is to keep the
And
black
whatever your
square in
dreams
the middle
are,
of the
that's what
cross.
you need to get.
The black
And
square
I
is
tell
where you
people
are
decide
right now.
A320,
The middle of the
737,
cross
or
is
even
where
the
you have
smaller
to
ones.
take the plane
Yeah.
to.
Business,
Alright?
whatever it is.
So I'm gonna
see
give
if you
you
can get your
some.
hands on that so you can see.
You wanna come down to
You'll have some
3,000
good
feet. I'm
things,
gonna
you'll have some
dial
bad things, but
3,000.
Yeah.
you'll learn.
I'm
You'll
gonna
know
Experience.
hold
what
this,
to
alright?
expect,
Now you see the middle of that cross? Follow it. Follow it like a video game. That's it, perfect. Now if you put this into nav, now this is where you're gonna have to get used to multitasking as a pilot because you only have 340 buttons to negotiate.
What's his name?
Antonio.
Antonio, relax. Don't put a death grip on the stick, but just relax and think about what you want to do and slowly execute it. And you'll get a feel for it. Especially if you're in a full motion sim, you'll feel your
Oh yeah.
responses.
You get the quick feedback, huh?
And there's a saying, pitch plus power equals
Alright, so if
performance.
you do this,
and that's what the
see that
flight
there?
director is
That's
basically
Brisbane Airport,
doing
okay?
for you. So,
So,
you don't have to
let's
remember.
do some turns. Let's
I need
do some
to be
maneuvers. I
5
want to
degrees
give you a
nose up,
turn
and I
90
need
degrees to the
power
right.
setting,
So
and
as I
I
turn
need
this, you see the cross is going to
awesome
move.
and everything. It'll
So
just
follow
tell
it
you,
along
you just follow
as
it.
best you
and
can.
it'll guide
They're
you.
going to head north
Nice.
right now, 360 degrees. Beautiful. Nicely done.
Here's one, look at that me.
I didn't pay him to say that.
You see that? So basically what happens is whenever we're talking to air traffic control, they'll give us all the instructions. Climb to this altitude, turn to that direction, maintain this speed. So what we do is we dial all of that into this panel over here. Now if the autopilot is off, all this information goes into the cross to show you where you have to point the aircraft to obtain and maintain these parameters. But if you turn on the autopilot, like I'm going to do right now, it's going to do it for you automatically. You see that? So if like now you control the autopilot, all right? Because the autopilot, it's a computer. It needs commands, right? So let's just say the air traffic control told us to turn. You see now it's leveling us out at 0 degrees at naught. All right. Let's just say ATC told us to turn right to a heading of 090.
How do you know
Dial
the
this now
autopilot's
to
on?
090.
How do you know the autopilot center is on?
Should be
090.
Permit flight display, yeah. AP1.
AP?
AP1.
Very good. And
So you
then
see
also
that?
the
You're dialing,
indicator,
the aircraft is
the
flying.
light is on.
Keeping you perfectly
Okay.
centered in
My
the cross.
old examiner
That's how the
said-
autopilot works. That's basically all there is.
This is fantasy. What you see on your LCD display,
Yeah.
that's reality.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you push autopilot and it doesn't show,
Yeah.
then it's fantasy.
John?
Because you're thinking it's like, that's not the reality, because the reality will show you on the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. to take over from the autopilot, you just push the red button twice. There you go. And now it's your job to follow the cross. Now, as you can see, that's where you are.
You know
That's
why it's so
Brisbane
loud?
Airport right over there.
Just to get your attention?
Yeah, because
So what we
ever
wanna do is
since
zoom in a
Eastern
bit.
Airlines Flight 401,
And we're
they
going to
crashed
turn
at
now to
Florida
the
Everglades in
left,
72.
heading
They found that they had the
030,
autopilot
and you're going to
on.
continue
Somebody
descending
accidentally
to
bumped the
3,000
control,
feet.
didn't realize it, and
Very
it was so
nice.
smooth that you didn't feel the difference. So they were descending it or never focused on a landing gear properly. And before they realized it, they were
Oh,
crashing.
shit.
It was too late.
Yeah.
So that's basic. That's the basics of flying.
She's going to land now.
Yeah, so that's the airport. We need to go around, downwind, and then turn and join the approach. It's going to be an ILS approach. That's going to help you out with the instruments. But don't forget to look outside and enjoy the view.
You okay interpreting everything?
Yeah. Pretty familiar with this.
What aircrafts do you guys work on?
Dash 8s.
Oh, nice. Oh, Abu Dhabi Aviation. Yeah, Dash 8s. Yeah. You guys fly out to the islands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daz, Circle.
Do you know Trevor?
Yeah, Trevor.
Is he still there?
No, he's back in the US. He's flying with.
I know Trevor very well.
True.
He used to come over to the previous company where I had my sim.
Yeah, he's a teenager. Doesn't he?
What's he flying now?
He's flying 737s.
Yep.
Says it's gonna take him another 4 or 5 years before he meets.
So if you see there
Okay.
on the right, that's the airport. And if you look at your screen, that's the runway, and that's the entry point to the runway, the approach phase. Okay. So we're currently what we call downwind, where you fly in the opposite direction of the runway you're gonna land on. So once we get a beam to this one here, we're gonna make a right-hand turn. So just to neaten it up, we're just gonna go left about to 015 degrees. So follow the cross.
That was a great video you did recently, like maybe a day and a half ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
With
And then
Dylan.
it came on and gave me like 2 hours ago. I was like, man, you literally just put this out.
The one with the circuit or the one where I'm flying with Dylan?
Circuit.
Okay.
You mentioned Dylan, but it's like, is Dylan your
14.
14?
And he's coming today. We're gonna record another one. And yeah, he knows everything about the Airbus.
Nice.
Alrighty. So now that we're getting close to, you see, we're currently 4,900 feet, and our target is 3,000. All right. So once you get to 3,000, we can basically start to turn. Generally, right about the edge of that inlet over there is when we're probably gonna start the turn. Now we've got a little bit of work to do. The first thing we want to do is we want to start slowing the aeroplane down. So that's being controlled here. Dial it to the left, make it 200. Because in the Airbus, it's all digitally controlled. In a conventional aircraft, you'd actually physically pull these back. But with the Airbus, you see this thing doesn't move. It's just like preset there. But as you can see, the speed is dropping. That little yellow arrow, that's called a speed trend. It's going to tell you where your speed's going to be in the next 10 seconds. All right?
Question. He dialed in 200. Would he have to pull the knob or push the knob?
It's already pulled.
Okay.
So because it's blue, it's in selected mode.
Check.
So now you just dial it. If you push it, the aircraft will take it to the speed it thinks it should be at, which is going to be this green dot speed over here, the minimum clean speed. All right, you ready for your turn? Let's go. I've told the computer to take you all the way to the runway now, so guide you around. So now, let's go for flaps 1, please. As we slow down, we're going to extend the flaps to help us slow at the flat slow speed. So whenever you're ready, flaps 1, go for it. Usually the co-pilot does it, but I'm lazy.
Okay, flaps 1. Now I'll make a turn.
Yeah, just follow the flight director. You see that? It's guiding you along. That bar chart is telling you that you are close to the altitude you want to be at. Excuse me. Localize and glide slope as well. All right, flaps 2 now.
Right of the localizer.
Yeah.
Let's go for
That's
flaps 2.
its perspective, not your perspective, but its perspective, which is true. And as you get closer, you'll see it coming in towards you.
flaps 2, you can go from gear down, landing gear down now. That one there. And as you can see, we're just a little over 10 miles away from touchdown. Should be able to see the runway soon. I see it right there, low on our rear block. Flaps 3 now. Beautiful. Oh, very nice. I have to say, this is your first time ever. Alright, now I'm not just saying this because your dad's behind you or trying to be nice. You actually have the hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
You're
He's gonna
doing
make
very
a good
well.
pilot.
No, I mean, a lot of people struggle with this. I mean, I just explained it to him, told him what to do, and he's been doing it pretty much perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve and I have seen guys who always do the opposite. They think they want to take the cross to the plane, and it's the other way around. So, yeah, if you want to be a pilot, you can. Trust me. You got the hand-eye coordination for it. Just remember, accuracy is the name of the game we're playing here, right? A centimeter off that cross is a mile out there. So you got to be as accurate as you can. All right, now we've got the runway inside, so let's go for flaps 4. And that pretty much completes the landing checklist for us. And the most important button in any cockpit is this one right over here. That's how we get the coffee. Pretty hostess brings us coffee. Unless it's a discount island, and she's not pretty. Alrighty, you go around altitudes 4,007. So you're pretty much ready to go. So you see the runway? Alright, so that's what's tied in right now to the navigation system. It's locked onto the runway, and the cross, the flight director, is guiding you straight to the touchdown zone of the runway. So at this stage, what we do is we call the look in, look out phase. We look in to make sure we're on the cross, look outside, in, out, constantly cross-referencing.
Hold it like this, but not like that. Just do what you gotta do and just relax. Remember the Cessnas? Just like 2 fingers. So with 2 fingers you can.
2,000.
There you go. So now we're just 2,000 feet above ground level. So now you want to assume the position for landing, which is not the brace position. You want to put your feet back on the pedals, because as soon as you land, the side stick, there's nothing for you. As soon as you land, all the controls are on your feet, and you're going to put your right hand here on the engines. So right hand on the engines, so you want to assume that position there. Lovely. So you see right now, as you get closer to the ground, aeroplanes don't like to be lower, because the air gets thicker, the winds get stronger, and you know we have a thing called ground effect, where the vortices coming off the wings go down, hit the ground, come back up, hit the aeroplane. So you're kind of creating your own turbulence as you move along. So you're gonna find that you'll be needing to put more input to the side stick as you get closer to the runway to keep the aircraft stable, and that's just normal with any aeroplane. And this here is telling you where the wind is coming from. So the wind's coming from here, all right? So from the right-hand side. So 2 things are happening. You're gonna find that the nose, because it hits the tail, and the aircraft wants to point this way naturally. Also, because it's coming from here, it goes under the wing. So you'll find the aircraft trying to drift to the left and point to the right. So you're just gonna have to factor for that. It's called a crosswind.
1,000 equates to 3 miles away.
Yep. Small corrections, small, quick corrections, nudges. Give, release, alright? There you go. Beautiful, nice.
So you're keeping the cross on the little square.
Yes.
Keeping the square on the cross.
Oh, keeping
Wherever
the square.
wherever the cross goes, the square follows. Alright, you got 2 reds and 2 whites. See those lights at the edge of the runway?
Yes.
Those are called the pappies. So if you see 2 white lights, 2 red lights, you're on a perfect trajectory. More red than white, you're too low. More white than red, you're too high. In flying school, they told us all white, high as a kite. All red, you'll soon be dead. They were wonderful teachers. Alright, let's disregard that message. Alright, 2 reds, 2 whites. A beautiful approach.
300.
300 feet left.
You see see the raw data from the localizer and the glass level.
Yeah.
Magenta. You see it?
There we go. All right. Now we're gonna disregard the screen. Look at the runway. Okay. Look to the end of the runway. There we go. Now little up. Couple of nudges to bring the nose up a bit. Little up. Kill the power.
50,
Kill the power. All the way back. That's it. Keep it there.
30,
Now just give tiny nudges. Keep the wings nice and level. Keep
20,
them level. Up, up,
retard.
up, 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 up. There you go. Pull
10,
release. That's it. Leave it there.
5,
Beautiful soft
Hands on
landing. Now
throttle, hands
use
on
your
throttles,
feet.
hands on
Pull
throttles.
the reverses.
Reverse.
These two up. These two up. There you go. Left rudder. Push. Point the airplane back. There you go. That's it. Now just use your rudders, and that was a beautiful soft landing. Awesome.
Do me a favor. Once he slows down,
Yep.
have him drive with the tiller piece.
Sure. All right. All right. Now we've slowed down enough, so you wanna push these back to 0 all the way in. One more click. That's it. Now to the left of the joystick is a tiller. That's a steering wheel. It's like a steering wheel for a car. All right. So you see the green lights there? Follow those green lights. We're gonna taxi over to the gates. So put the middle of the airplane onto these green lights and follow them along. Slow down as required, using the toe brakes. All right. That was a very good landing.
Yeah, he's a natural. He's a
Are you
natural.
sure you haven't done this before?
And you're seeing this with your own eyes.
Yeah.
It's true.
Alrighty, I'll stop the interview for you. Alright, squeeze the brakes a bit. Yeah, squeeze them in and release them now. So you don't want to stop the airplane, you just want to keep it rolling. And I think we can follow along to the left. That will take us to the gates. I'm not too familiar with Brisbane. Actually, I've never been. I've been to Sydney, Perth, and Melbourne. Okay, more to the left. Beautiful, emotional sunset in Brisbane. Alrighty. So I think somewhere along the right we can pull in and park. And the beauty of it, this order happened in 2019 at the Paris Air Show.
Okay.
So takeoff and landing, or are we going to
No, I wanna get
we'll
a-
swap up.
We're gonna switch
I wanna
around?
get a
Alright.
switch.
Okay, so we're just gonna stop the aeroplane right over here. And you're gonna set the parking brakes on, up and to the right. And now we're gonna just make sure the AP is available. So now you can shut down engine 1 and 2. Bring them back. These two here, up and back. Yep. And that is how you fly an Airbus A320. Very well done.
Wow.